step in the journey is a sacred step indeed. Just put one foot in front of the other, and you'll have everything you need.
Other stuff.
Exactly. Okay. And so we will see. I made it public. Last time we did a video, they turned it into being a video that no one could see as it was streaming. So it looks like we are live and we are visible. So today we are going to be talking with Osun about their journey. And I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fun things that come up. And I'm super excited to interview you. So let's do it.
Yes, thank you for opening this space for us to talk about what I've been up to, and super excited to share with everybody.
Great. So to start out, so you bill yourself as a yogi, artist, and researcher. Can you tell me a little bit more about your background with each of these?
Yeah, that is quite a question. Would take me a really long time to talk about how much each of those things mean and where they come from, but it's true that there's these different facets that I bring and have been part of my journey to where I am now. In terms of research, I am a phenomenological researcher. So I study experience and sort of how human beings experience thoughts, feelings, sensations, and it comes from sort of a philosophy background, but I'm writing a dissertation right now on the ways in which we experience our own creativity through making music, musical creativity. And then, so that's one whole little world is research. And then as an artist, I've been a musician for my whole life since I could walk. And my undergraduate background is in music composition. So how arranging notes and sounds in space for aesthetic purpose, for the sake of putting together some type of performance ritual event, has been pretty formative. And I'm always kind of having little ideas for things that might make interesting pieces. And of course, lately we can't do big concerts anymore. That's kind of a drag, but coming up with ideas for digital events and socially distant types of happenings. And then I grew up actually practicing a little bit of yoga, and somehow the Yoga Sutras and the Vedic teachings have become pretty central as a system of energy healing that I can use. Although there's many others, including, Reiki and other, which I also work with, and a few different systems that other folks use. I really see them all being very complementary. But those are my three really sort of central focuses right now in my work, and they really influence each other as well. So those, yeah, just a little taste on those three things.
Cool. Wow, that's fascinating. So talk more about your relationship with your own creativity.
Oh man, that's another mind exploding question. But
Yeah.
another big question, it's super vital. So whether I'm researching or making my own things or creating space around my clients, I find that creativity is the source. Creativity is, as you know as well, I know you know this, it is the inexhaustible place, the threshold where our imagination meets consciousness. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of always there. And it's always been a space that I've always loved being in. Even when I was 4, I remember being put into piano lessons and quitting like a year later when I was a 5-year-old because I wanted to create my own pieces. Even since then, get people to improvise with me at the piano and things like that. My kitty is here.
Oh, your
Haru.
kitty cat. What's your kitty's name?
His name is Haru.
Hi, Haru.
Yeah,
Beautiful kitty cat.
he's visiting. So the source of the source of creativity is so boundless, and it simply is. I mean, I find it's impossible to get away from it.
Yeah, so even at age 4, you were like rebelling against a structure that was imposed on you from the outside, right? You were like, I just want to dynamically like just play on this piano, right? Just like
hmm
express your
Just to sort of
soul.
spread out and find new spaces and patterns and ways of enjoying this instrument, of the practice or whatever it was.
I love
And
how you started at 4 and then quit at 5.
it was a very short classical piano career.
That's so funny. I love it.
So
Cool.
that's
And
one of
then
my stories.
yeah, and then you're really creative when you play on your handpan. I love how you just, play the different notes in the handpan and then make sounds on top of it. And seems like that sound healing can be a place where your creativity can run free, more free, right? More freely.
That's such a great intuition for sure. Yeah, it was amazing coming through and into sound healing after having trained in music composition in a conservatory. It was sort of shocking to me how freeing it could be to just feel what needed to happen and sort of allow it to happen. And of course, there's a space of holding intention for an intention of holding space around like the client's chakra, perhaps, or the specific energetic situation that we would like to perhaps have expand more or shift towards. So like something we kind of want something to happen, but at the same time nothing has to happen,
Mm.
which I just love that about sound healing. So that nothing absolutely is required to happen. And so how interesting and curious.
Yeah, it leaves a lot of, it leaves that space of anticipation. And I know that the most powerful sound healings that I've experienced, like as a giver of the sound healing, is when I had no expectation, like absolutely no attachment or expectation to what would happen. And through the sound, I was able to journey into the person's body and undo these knots of deep muscular tension. And I was, wow, my hands were inside the body, almost like one of those surgeons in the Philippines, right? Or John of God that puts the hands in the body. And I was like, wow, I had no idea that was going to happen. I was like,
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah. So,
yeah, like third eye activation for sure. And then it's interesting the things that come up and you bring it up afterwards, like, so what did you notice? And a person's like, yeah, I really felt like there was this hand reaching down into me and like moving the stuck energy around, and it's so sometimes even the two accounts will sync up, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's
yeah, I find that super
fascinating.
cool.
So, how, here's another question for you. How did you transition from teaching music to being a full-time yogi?
Yeah, yeah, I'm really excited to be able to work in this way, even though things are so heavily focused on online lately with the pandemic. Um, I was a lot more focused or in prior years teaching music to young people, and now I've refocused away from that. And what's interesting is that it's so similar. I know that that's another thing that you and I have in common is past lifetimes, past years working with teaching music to kids and having working with kids in different ways. And it's really this so interesting because the theatrical and sonic components of what the work entailed, there was a subtle, very specific, like subtle alchemy involved in providing that um, creativity space and that um, sonic space within the role of a school community that
Yeah.
was kind of shamanic in a way, because it wasn't math and it was, well, I mean, I love math too and
Yeah,
natural
that's like
sciences, but
shamanic. The choir directors are the ones that are like, taking them into these worlds of sound and collective song together. Yeah, it was.
group song and like inventing,
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of devised theater, um, yeah, the children's own pieces. So in a way, it was like totally natural. And then also next door to the school happened to be a pretty renowned yoga and dharma center that used to be an
Ah,
ashram.
perfect.
So every day on my commute, I would drive over towards work and just drive past that place and just think and see it up there on the hill and say, I really want to do yoga teacher training there one day. Like maybe this will happen. Maybe nah, it's not for me. I'm not meant. Okay, maybe. And so like for 3 years, I drove past this place every day, and so then I finally did my teacher training there, and so it was such a blessing to start my journey there. And um, yeah, like I said, I the Vedic approach to healing is so powerful to me. So I'm doing my 1,000-hour yoga therapy training right now, but certainly there's many different threads of light and energy systems that permeate our dimensions, that it's this many different ways of, but I tend to gravitate towards the term yogi just out of like pure um, respect for like how much it's helped me to work through yoga specifically.
Hmm.
Yeah.
There's Kitty Cat again. Hello, Kitty Cat.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know that I really enjoy your yoga classes. I found some on YouTube, and then I registered for that one. So I want to do a lot more yoga with you. I love it. I love it.
Yes, come try it. Come try asana. Everybody try mat yoga classes 3 times a week. I'm trying to upload some of them onto Vimeo as well so that people could access on demand. And
Subscription, yeah, or just on
yeah,
demand.
just a little a la carte, just a little subscription, not subscription, the opposite.
But a la
Just make
carte.
that
I
available.
love it. Like make some hors
Yeah.
d'oeuvres, purchase your hors d'oeuvre, purchase your little class.
Maybe you just need a little bit of like heart opening yin and you don't want to do yang yoga. So you could go
Exactly.
at your convenience.
Choose your menu item. I love it.
Yeah.
So okay, so that's beautiful. I love the way the yoga studio was there on the hill, as you were driving to the school. Was it elementary school that you taught? music at?
Yes, yeah, it was a lot of elementary school. They had a small school, so with some older grades as well. But
Mhm.
yeah, a lot of elemental music,
Cool.
general, choral. Mhm.
And then I love how it was just, there, you drove by it, and then eventually it was like, oh, this is part of my life. I'm going to do this. That's beautiful. And so tell me about your first dream heart circle. I want to know about what are dream heart circles? I love the
Yeah,
name.
dream heart circles are a space where people come together and share their dreams in community and discuss the um the the dreams that they've recently had, and in doing so are deeply heard and witnessed, and just really interesting things can happen. I started journaling my own dreams pretty consistently around 5 or 6 years ago, and started practicing with them as part of a training that I was doing called deep listening, um, that combines dream work, tai chi, and sound art in a lot of different interesting ways. And
Wow,
so,
cool.
yeah, I can tell you about deep listening too.
Yeah.
But through that practice, I had been dreaming a lot and learning so much about my own desires and my own other aspects of my being, through the journaling, that I had begun to recognize some of the um, common signposts and archetypes, in even like some of the Jung's archetypes. And I had been studying a little bit with my dream work teacher, Ione, who is a dreamer and um, a performance artist and playwright. And I finally just sort of wanted to hold the space, because I felt that I had journaled so much, and I had started to recognize, as I said, these really common archetypes within myself, my own dreamscape. And we met every week for about a year, up until the pandemic, and we concluded at that point. And it was such an amazing opportunity to see how deeply interconnected we all are through our dreams.
Hmm.
Um, and you might dream people in your dream pod, in your dream circle. And
Hmm.
so then people will start dreaming each other, and or they'll dream about similar things. And so dreams are definitely um, one of the other really big deep threads on creativity, because they're kind of the raw material of our creativity. They come to us and they give us, really special messages while our minds are busy, or our rest of our anatomy is busy sleeping, integrating, and digesting.
Yes. Yeah, it's like I like to think of like when you're dreaming together, like, I don't know, we did this thing called a mitote, which is a Toltec tradition, where we all like put our heads kind of in the center of the circle, almost like a dolphin pod. And it was kind
Hmm.
of the opposite of dreaming together. We were actually attempting, it's interesting, I'm transitioning to this topic, but we were actually attempting to arrest the process of dreaming, because in a sense, our waking life is like a dream. And we thought if we could break the dream spell of duality by stopping the dreaming response from happening, that we would awaken to our true nature. That was the Toltec, it's called Mitote, which is a totally different thing than you're talking about, but it was interesting. And then in other times, we've just had friends gather with our heads together, like in a dolphin pod, and just sharing our visions, our waking visions, and sharing our dreams. And so it's cool when you actually like start to dream together, right? I've known of people that start to have the same dream when they're together a lot. They'll start dreaming the same dream, and that's pretty rare. I'm just kind of blabbing around the subject.
No, it's an amazing subject.
It made me
Yeah,
think of all those things at once. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. I'm
yeah.
sharing you around a bit. And so far, I don't think they've taken our video down. So thank you, everyone out there.
Yeah, thank you,
so,
Facebook, for.
oh, sorry, love. Can I ask
No,
you?
go ahead.
Can I ask you? I would love to find out more about your journey with gender fluidity and how that began to come into your life. And how long have you known, that you felt gender fluid as a they, because you have
Sure.
such a beautiful masculine presence and you have such a beautiful feminine presence, and they weave together to make this beautiful amalgam of. And I'd love to know about, how love is your preferred pronoun. So I'd love to delve into that little piece of the journey. I mean, I've got other questions, but that you wrote me, but would you indulge me in telling me a bit about that journey of self-discovery?
Of course, I'd be honored to share about that. And thank you for seeing me in the dimensions of light and other on the non-3D dimensions as well.
Oh yes, the mermaid, of course. We know that we are.
Yeah, well, that's how we met. That's how we originally met, was in the Aquafarian.
Yes, we were swimming in the Starlight Ocean and we looked over at each other and said, hey, you're a mermaid too.
Yeah, I was always sort of myself, and there's so many different stories I could share with you, but I would suggest that on all these different levels, we do have both. We all each have our own facets, and some traditions talk about past lives as like women and past lives as men. I sort of always knew that I was queer, that I was a LGBTQ gay person, and lived that journey. And I'm not sure, I guess the gender binary just lost its appeal for me. And so as I gave myself permission to express my being more, it just so happened that I did not find it very interesting to resonate with really either side, to transition away from the gender that I was assigned, the sex that I was assigned at birth, nor was I really attracted to resonate with the fully, like, as much of a divine masculine frequency. And so there's a playfulness in my presentation, and I think that there's a long history of two-spirited people. I certainly connect to my two-spirited ancestry on the indigenous bloodlines that I do have. And so maybe I just connect extra deep to that.
I remember the first time you channeled for me. Those ancestors came out. They were such heyokas. They were so funny. Remember, they just said, "Stop being afraid," and they used some choice words too.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Thank you, love. Frank just came.
That's true. My ancestors were not holding back.
Ancestors are funny. They made me laugh. They're
Yeah.
like, stop being. When we say stop being afraid, we mean stop being afraid.
Is that what they said? I don't even remember. That's so good.
You were, kind of, your personality self was off in a corner of your brain as they were coming through. Oh yeah, they were hilarious. They're like, stop fear now. We mean now. And I was just laughing. I was like, wow, okay now. Okay then. So they were such jokesters, they made me laugh. Because when you're having panic attacks and anxiety and the whole pandemic and just all the stress, and your ancestors just came like in this great circle of just joy and presence. And I was like, oh my God, I love these people. These are my people.
They can hang. They can hang out.
They just hanging out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you for asking that question. And then, yeah, everybody has a preferred different pronouns that they prefer. And one thing that I find is I really enjoy the consistency of picking one pronoun. So knowing myself, if I had to pick just one pronoun, then it would have to be they. It would have to be the most sort of fluid.
Yeah, they, because it's all
single pronoun.
All of the above. And it's interesting because I studying with Lisa Renee, and she talked about gender neutrality, and she talked a lot about how, especially those born in the 90s, those coming in the 90s, and I know you were born in 1992, right? Is that right? Right around there? That she said that a lot of children, a lot of souls would be coming in that are very gender fluid, and that they're holding this portal, the actual portal to our divine genetics is hermaphroditic. It's a hermaphroditic combination of, the flow between the fluidity. So when we think about superconductivity, excuse me, and alchemy, in alchemy, I hope I can help grok this. It's kind of a complex topic, but in let's see how I can explain this. So when a substance is like quicksilver, it flows back and forth between what we call the masculine to the feminine in a beautiful fluid flow, right? Take something like lead or iron. There's complete lack of exchange of the masculine and feminine essence. It doesn't work. But as you get into the lesser and lesser metal density in the metals that are approaching elemental gold, you get an exchange between this masculine essence and this feminine essence that eventually becomes completely fluid, and that's 0 point, right? And that the 0 point is the energy of free energy, right? It actually generates a spontaneous self-generated energy current, and that's when the exchange is fluid. And that's actually the portal out of the lockdown on fallen earth. So a lot of children, a lot of souls came in to hold that portal open, which is that gender fluidity, isn't that cool? It's like helping
generationally speaking.
Yeah. So it's really helping to hold the portal open. And so it's cool. Oh, I see the kitty. I see the kitty's tail.
He's peeking out.
Hello, kitty, photobombing with tail.
He just likes to sort of swish his tail into the frame.
He likes to. Well, that's we welcome the feline energy.
Yeah, the lyrans.
We love those lyrans. Yes. Okay, so let's see. Thank you for sharing that. That's really beautiful.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see. What excites you most about your work with private clients? I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, so in addition to teaching group yoga classes on Zoom, I found a number of individuals that have reached out to me for private sessions. And the thing that really excites me the most, I think, is to see how rapidly change, like progress occurs when there's a desire to change. And so people will try one of the practices that I mentioned, like a specific pranayama or breath work, that sort of comes through intuitively from the session. Like, maybe this week, why don't we try having you integrate legs up the wall and journaling your dreams, and maybe I'll teach you the microcosmic orbit from Qigong. And we sort of integrate a couple of, maybe not all of those things, but I find people come back and there's a really quick transformation level of transformation that occurs super fast in addition to the larger arc. And so I find that quickness to be so fun. To be so fun, and the benefit, and it also inspires me to keep practicing, to keep doing my own practice, my own soul work as a person, to sort of have the privilege, I mean, as you know as well, to the privilege to hold that circle of space around the person and make this little basket for them where they can just be cradled, and it keeps me on my toes. I really like that.
I know, it's like both as a spiritual midwife and as a musician, you know, I know, okay, as I expand and blossom in my own being, then I can really share that. I can really be like on my toes and ready for that next challenge. It's like, oh, cool, yeah, I mastered that particular ride at the amusement park, and now this person is just coming into that Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, and I'm like, oh yeah, I already done that. I can really hold space much better, right? Because I'm working through my stuff. And then with music, it's like, okay, I'm scheduled to do these concerts twice a month, and it keeps me learning new music, right? Because I got to show up with some new music that excites me, because that's what's going to be a blessing, is what we're passionate about, right? That's cool. All right. So, oh, here we go. What about your nonprofit? I know you're just starting to create a nonprofit. What is one of the things you're looking forward to accomplishing with your nonprofit?
Thank you.
Tell me about that. I don't even know about your nonprofit.
Yeah, so many of us, well, not so many of us. I know that one thing that can be done after finishing yoga school, yoga teacher training, is to establish a studio. And that initial impulse came to me. And then all of my other inner child and researcher and artist and light work dimensions came in and said, hold on. We need to do more. This is not quite what we want. And so, yeah, I went ahead and formed a nonprofit, arts, yoga, and wellness entity called Sela Tara Mandala Ozotique Arts Foundation, and it's just doing what we're doing. I'm really excited for it to continue taking shape. But one really lovely thing that is underway. We have monthly offerings of concerts that are aimed at just sort of not therapeutic, but like aimed at just sort of vibratory awareness, just sort of soothing, and somewhere in between sound healing and a night out. And we also have the opportunity to do yoga therapy with some scholarship clients.
Oh, beautiful.
So yeah, already a bunch sort of going on, and it's still making some more decisions with my board about how exactly we're going to deliver on the mission. Yeah, really
That's
interesting project.
cool. I wanted to say the word again, Sela Tara Mandala. That's really lovely. Talk about sound vibration. Sela Tara Mandala.
We can
Whoa.
talk about Sela Tara Mandala.
Yeah, tell me about it. But let's say hi to Balti back there. Are you awake, Balti?
He is not very awake.
Hello, Balti. Good
My pup.
boy. Baltazar.
He dreams a lot. If he had a journal for all his dreams, it would be volumes and volumes and volumes.
Yep, cats and dogs are really great dreamers. So
Really
anyway,
good. You and I were talking about that. You were saying one time the higher, I think like you said, the higher self of your cat spoke up and said, I'm doing my work right now, and I'm resting.
Exactly. My job. It's sleeping
That's my
is
job.
my job. Is what she said. Sleeping is my job, right?
Hmm.
Let's talk about this Sela Tara Mandala. How did that come to you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's see. Well, Sela comes from the Sanskrit Shila, which means like sort of virtuous beauty or something like along those lines. And that was the name that was picked out for me had I been assigned female at birth.
oh,
Um,
Sela.
Sela. And I thought it was such a great name for a human. It's also my mom's middle name. And so that aspect was there. And then Tara, as we know, is one of the compassionate bodhisattvas. And then mandala is really important because a mandala is actually more than just a colorful drawing. It's really any self-contained sort of crystalline structure. It's kind of not a grid, but I guess a grid in a way, an energetic grid. And mandalas are really important to me aesthetically. So I knew that this entire project was going to be some type of mandala. And I would spend a lot of time drizzling the little bits of sand down, and eventually the wind will blow it away.
I'm going to show you I'm going to show you a couple of mandalas
Yes.
that I have in my background.
Oh, cool. Look at that.
That one cool. I'll show it.
Nice.
I'll show it on the big view for a minute. Yeah, I found this one the other day and I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. I'll put us on
You've got
gallery for a minute.
great colors, rainbow
Yeah, it's
spectrum, and
cool.
these
And then
little
I've got,
ripples.
yeah, here, let me go.
Oh, look at the center.
Yeah, it's like the Jewish star or the Merkaba. And then I have a few. I'll just show you a few just to play. This one's pretty cool. This one reminds me of like the Brady Bunch or something. It's like very 70s, isn't it? Isn't that like
Yeah,
very 70s?
super groovy. What's in the
Super
center? Is it a
groovy.
lotus?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no, it's the yin yang.
It reminds me of you gotta keep
Oh, this
on,
is super groovy.
grooving all through the night. You gotta keep on,
Keep on. Yeah.
make it right, right? With like Greg Brady and Marcia, and they're all in their stripes. I mean, I'm just like, oh yeah, that's what that is. And then I'll show you a
But
few.
it's nice how it emanates from you too. It's kind of like this
The pretty one, isn't
really
it?
auspicious. Yeah, mine got deleted and my fun virtual backgrounds.
Really? Check this one out.
I'll have to re-upload them. Oh, cool. Oh, this is nice.
Isn't that one cool? Here, I'll
Oh my
make it.
gosh, you know what's so fun? You can go on if you have a screen device, you
Yeah.
can actually go and make mandalas on your mandala maker app.
Seriously?
This is not a product endorsement,
Oh
but
my God! So
it's so fun. There's several different apps you can use to create mandalas.
Oh my gosh!
And
I think I've done
it's the most engrossing thing.
Is it called mandala creation? Okay, check this one out. This is very groovy, fractal. Check out that.
Oh wow.
Isn't that one
Oh,
amazing?
that's awesome. Look at that spiral.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Nautilus shell.
Like the Nautilus. It's kind of like Fibonacci. Yeah. But we'll make it a crystal spiral. It'll go out geometrically, and then I'll show you a couple more, and then we'll go back.
This is fun.
Yes. Okay, this one's not really a mandala. Oh, this one's really pretty. This one's like a starburst. Isn't that one cool?
That's really kaleidoscopic and cool.
Yeah, okay.
I like how it makes like a halo for you. It's good.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. My scarf's pink. Anyway, so maybe I'll keep this one for my inner child. Let's play around with it. Well, that's really awesome. I tried to start a nonprofit with my Heart Song Weavers Choir, and it got more and more complicated, and I finally was just like, I can't do this right now. But it's something that's out there, as a possibility maybe someday. Our choir was going to tour and do all these different concerts and play in hospitals, and we needed a nonprofit so that we could, go to different businesses and ask for funding. But it got pretty complicated, and my brain just exploded, and I was like, okay, can't do it right
Yeah,
now.
it's very three-dimensional for sure.
Okay, let's see now. What is one practice that has supported you personally during this pandemic? This is a timely question.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, certainly I would imagine that all of us really, and especially like those of us who hold like light or space for other people, have like a personal practice that we sustain ourselves with. But for me, it's definitely my music practice. My studio time has become medicinal. Just like pure, I'm not working on any album right now or any sort of specific things. It's a lot of exploratory movement and sound, and so it involves like kind of, I guess you would say, like Anna Halperin based movement. And so you can like blindfold yourself, or you can like pick a really specific vowel sound or like one word, and just sort of to be with one movement or one sound for the entire time is my meditation.
Wow, very cool.
So.
Oh, wow. Do you ever, I know for me, like I have like a lot of attention. It's hard for me to really focus my attention. I mean, that's shifting, but do you ever feel like, oh my gosh, I need another tone. I need another sound, not just one. Or do you go deeper and deeper and deeper with that one sound?
I find that in my sound and movement meditations, by repeating the same sound, I find that it's constantly transforming on other levels. So like, oops, my cat just jumped off the desk and he fell, which is weird. Don't they say like cats always land on their feet or something?
Yeah.
I think he actually got tangled up in this mala bead.
Oh.
While he was falling, he got tangled up in the mala beads while he was jumping, rather. Poor thing. Well, he's probably fine, but that's interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, so it transforms while you're doing the same movement. I mean, let's do it now. I mean, like, even if you just take your wrist and you just rotate your wrist, but then you can notice the speed of it and see if you're feeling all of the meridian points in the hand. And suddenly I find I'm moving a lot slower and I'm feeling a lot more in my wrist. I'm not really thinking about as many different things. And then I realize that I've only been rotating in one direction. So then I start rotating in the other direction. And it's not really like we're not allowed to do something else, but realizing that there's so much to discover. Yeah, my inner child gets into it. It gets into a flow state, I guess, rather than being told. Yeah. Let me move on to something else, maybe.
Well, no,
but I find it very centering.
I like it. I think it's important to have practices that center us. I mean, I one of the things I wanted to chat with you about, just as current events, as what I'm experiencing, especially last night. Jason Estes says that we're in the new sector now, right? This is the new sector. We made it. And that the new sector is all about the dismantling of the cognitive mind as a separate entity, so that the cognitive mind can no longer block trauma by just building a castle in the sky. the membrane between the cognitive mind and the feeling body is really dissolving in this next sector. And I don't know if you felt it at all, but last night I literally felt this sense of like, I can't do it anymore. I can't push myself or make things happen or manipulate reality to alter my mood. I have to just sink into being in the presence. And I actually feel like for the first time, I have this possibility of really living in a much more calm way. I'm always going to have energy, right? Because I have a really big emotional body, but, and as you do, but I realize a lot of what I do is an attempt to escape pain. And so once I really feel all those traumas in there, and there's not that many more to feel, as I really let myself feel those, I don't have to participate in the hyperactivity to avoid the baseline sadness. I can just drop into the sadness and be like, oh, there's sadness there. Let me feel that, and then come right back into that river. But it's not a river of like happy dancing presence that I'm manipulating reality so as not to feel the sadness, because I'm not running from anything, right? It's like dancing on a hot stove. When there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of mental activity. We dance on the hot stove so we don't feel the burn. But I'm realizing as I sink into the burn, it's not really that bad in there. It hurts for a minute, and then it's so calm. And it's pulling the energy of this great happy dancing machine of my brain, trying to compensate from sadness. This machine is dismantling because it's not defending against anything anymore. There's nothing to defend against because I've already felt it, because I'm in it. And so I was like, Frank was like saying last night, wow, imagine a really calm version of Sarah. You know, he was like talking to himself. He's like, a very calm Sarah. So we may be seeing a much more calm Sarah.
Yeah, it's totally possible. It's totally possible.
I'll always be goofy, and you know, energy will shoot through me and rise up, but there won't be this defensive response to always be in some kind of creation mode. Instead, I'll be able to hang in 0 point and be like, what's hanging, baby? You know, what, watching the ripples in the river and being like, oh, did you see a little fish swim by? Instead of like, yeah, I can make a fish factory, and how many fish am I going to have? And I'll color them all different colors, and I'll make a song, and then I'll make a musical, and I'll sell it, and how will I sell it? And then I'll do this, and then I'll do that. And it's like, oh my God, no, just float on the river and watch the ripples. And if something rises authentically from the center of the river that wants to become a creation, then I can participate in creating that. But my brain won't be just like this constant creation, you know, explosion all the time. That was really a defense mechanism.
Yeah, and particularly because it's winter time for a lot of us, like the Vata dosha, speaking Vedically, it can get a little bit out of balance and it can get dry. So we might want to start using a humidifier and drinking more tea, hydrating ourselves. And part of that comes these ideas and mental activity and like rapid, like, you know, oh yeah, I got to do this, I got to do that. And like, what I really love about working with the three doshas, Vata, Kapha, and Pitta, is that you don't have to stop any of them. There's just these three different sort of elements that are present in us for different reasons. Yeah. And they just need to be soothed, to be brought into balance. And I just, every time I read about that, I just think, that's exactly right. We're just going to soothe this dosha. Just soothe it, just bring it into a little buttercup and
What's your
just
dosha?
let it be.
Are you I think I'm a bit of vata. What are you?
I, you know me and sticking to one label or term.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I connect to all of them in different ways. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's definitely a lot in the collective too. You were saying like last night having a lot of energy and motion, and yeah, certainly I felt something last night. I think with Sagittarius season, like I was really chatting a lot with my friends and sending out a lot, putting out a lot of verbose communication, writing. Then I just exhausted myself a little bit. And so last night I was like, what happened? I felt burned myself a little bit.
Yeah.
And
I think with the president, with Trump, you know, finally really saying, okay, we're transitioning to the new president, that was a big thing. That was a big, because all the people that had and still, yeah, that had so much hope in Trump, you know, there were huge amounts of the population were like, this is our hero, this is our savior, and then that's over. So that's a big one. I think that's a big one. I looked at Frank and I just said, I've got this really strong like sense of grief that's just right under the surface, and didn't feel like personal grief much. It felt like collective. And I said, can you tell me what's happening? And I said, well, the president has actually, you know, he's not conceding. He's still saying I won, but he's like, I'm now gonna give up and let the presidency transition. So, and I really breathed into that, and I was like, oh wow, okay, you know, maybe that's it. And I let myself cry, and then it very, very quickly washed over like a wave. And then I was just like, wow. But this is such a big time. I think as
huge.
you know, as we see all the human trafficking start to be revealed, and finally, I mean, this is what Lisa Renee is saying, that finally there are enough people that know how to find the criminals, and that once these loopholes in government can really be rooted out, we're going to be able to free the children and the adults.
Yeah.
But the children are larger in numbers, you know. But we're
Yeah, I
going
mean Saturn moves into Aquarius on December 15th, so maybe we'll see a little bit more justice, a little bit more of a movement towards equity.
Yep, and then we've got December 21st, right? And that's the big Saturn, Uranus. Is it? I don't know.
Too? I forget.
Jupiter, Saturn. At
conjunction, right?
In that
at 1 degree.
1 degree in that solstice.
Huge times, and making space for grief and collective grief too. I mean, that's an emotional intelligence and a technology that is like so important, and it's like so not taught in schools and anything. I'm on my journey with it too, like how to feel something and then be able to see if it's really mine or if it's part of the collective, like Trump conceding the election, and then also dancing it out and just taking a moment to be with it. Because like you said, once it's there, it's like, for me, it becomes boring after a while. It's like, okay, I've been with this for like a while, and what happens next? You know? So it's really interesting to learn all of these different skills. You know, I feel like it's such an important thing, whatever modality speaks to us for it.
Yeah, for me last night, this level of sadness was almost like a serum. And I just had to drink the serum. My emotional body like had to take the serum into me. And then I cried. And then 30 seconds later, it was completely clear, which is so cool. Like, it's like when we resist an emotion, right? When we have a lot of charge around a trauma, we pull it towards us. And so we end up just cycling through the grief over and over, and it doesn't move. So it was such a breath of fresh air to like drink this serum of sorrow and then have it just digest right through me. And I was in this pure river of presence with no sorrow after 30 seconds, well, maybe 1 minute. That was like, wow, it's like taking a shower. You know, you've got mud on your arm and you put it under the clear water and your arm is clean. So
amazing.
cool.
Emotional alchemy. We need to start offering that. That could be our class together.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do with my clients a lot, is take them through
Yes.
techniques that really release the emotions quickly and move the resistance out of the way so that those emotions can clear right through, kind of like having a baby. The cervix opens up, the baby comes out, and there you go. Anyway, Leslie, we're at an hour and 5 minutes, I think, or maybe about an hour. How are you doing?
Yeah.
Is there any other thing you really want to talk about?
No, it's really great to just spread the word about my projects. My pup Balthazar wants to say bye-bye, and I wish everybody. I have to turn my. Oh, he got shy. He got shy. You gonna say goodbye, Balthazar?
Balthazar, come here. Come here, puppy. Hello.
There he is.
See your nose. Oh, there's your Balthazar. Hello, love.
So yeah. Are you so he will see you. He'll see you next time for Ascension updates. Yeah, everybody stay tuned. All these interesting things are emerging, and part of that is Ascension updates, and we always have so much fun together, Sarah. So thanks for taking the time to ask me about my work and all its facets.
Thanks, love. It was a pleasure. And see you same time next week, and have a beautiful Thanksgiving.
Yes, you too. I wish all of the acknowledgements of all the blessings and all of our gratitude to move through us.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
In the United States.
All right. In the United States. I think Canada already had theirs, right?
Canada had theirs. Do they? In Europe, it's not a thing, right? It's just I think it's just the United States, yeah.
Just us. Yeah. All right, till next time.
Bye, sweetheart. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao. Bye, everybody.